Welcome to the Pick 3. In this episode, we're going to Oaklawn Park for Arkansas Derby Day. Hot Springs was such a cool place to visit. They've got a little something for everyone. They've got shopping, they've got cool art, they've got beer, which is a craft beer scene that is booming there, and man, the food. Oof. We'll get back to that in a moment, but if you're here, you want to talk about racing, and they've got good racing. Hot Springs and Oaklawn Park is truly a bucket list item for any horse racing fan. So in our video, we'll construct the perfect Pick 3 ticket for a day in Hot Springs. What you should eat, what you should drink, and where you should go while you're there, both at the track and around it. Let's get started. To kick the trip off, we met with our Oaklawn experts, Clay and Diana Sanders, and luckily for us, they picked the best pizza spot in the city, DeLuca's. We'll get back to DeLuca's in a minute, I promise, because it's amazing. You know Clay and his business partner, Marshall Graham, already, because you've probably heard them on one of the podcasts on the In the Money Podcast Network. Together, they started 10 Strike Racing in 2010, and since then, they've won hundreds of races. Oaklawn happens to be their home track, so if anyone can give us a skinny on what to do while we're here, it's them. We sat down with Clay and Diana, ordered a pie, and got into what makes this place so special for any horse racing fan.
Come to Hot Springs, it's about racing. It's like Saratoga. Every restaurant you go to the diner in the morning, everyone's got the racing form out. You can see a trainer at the bar. You don't get that at other places. Just everything's about racing in Hot Springs.
The city is driven by horse racing. At every turn, you'll find someone selling a tip sheet or something horse racing related. And to put it simply, it's pretty awesome. But before you hit the track, you got to eat, right? And for the first leg in our Pick 3, we stay right here at DeLuca's. Just over a decade ago, Tony DeLuca packed up his life in New York and moved to Hot Springs to start a pizza joint. I think it's safe to assume that if a person makes such a big pivot, they must have had a lifetime of restaurant experience. Nope, none at all. Not this guy. And if you ask Tony about it, he'll tell you this.
Yeah. I never ran a restaurant in my life.
It looks busy now, but this place wasn't an overnight success. Early on, he was selling just 5 or 10 pizzas a night. Luckily for him, and maybe more importantly for our stomachs, he connected with a local school teacher in Hot Springs to help manage the shop. With Heather running the front, Tony finally had a chance to focus and perfect his pizzas. And oh boy, it's amazing. What makes it special, you ask? If I had to put it in a word, it's everything. The made-from-scratch dough is a texture sensation. It's flaky and crispy on the outside, soft and chewy on the inside. You pair it with a zingy red sauce and finish it with fresh basil and whole mozzarella. And finally, they take all that, they put it into their magical pizza oven, which they got directly from Italy, and what comes out is pizza perfection. It is so good. We're going to make a trip back just for this pizza, I promise. Here's the best part. If we were giving out odds on what we'd pick for the first leg in our Pick 3, this pizza would be odds on. We're talking a heavy, heavy favorite, 1-9 easy. But sometimes you got to watch the board, and the first leg in this Pick 3, what we'll do is we're going to land on a different selection. And our official selection is their cheeseburger.
I think you have to have the cheeseburger. Believe it or not, we make a cheeseburger that I actually bring the meat in from New York. I've got a butcher in New York City that I'm a hamburger guy by nature. I'll eat a hamburger every day of my life if I could. And I love a hamburger. And we decided one day that it's a crazy idea, but the pizza ovens I have, they're from Italy. You can cook anything in them. You can cook steaks, you can cook this. So we would just throw things in the oven just for shits and giggles, basically, to see if it works, right? And this one happened to work.
Everything on this burger is perfect. The patty has a subtle touch of Italian sausage. The cheese is creamy. They cook it in a cast iron skillet and baste it with butter the whole time while they cook it. This is truly a magical way to cook this burger. Really, chef's kiss. We could spend all day here, but First Post is calling. Pro tip. When you go to Hot Springs, make sure you make a reservation at DeLuca's. We're here at 11 o'clock and it's already packed. Also, they only make 150 pizza crusts a day. So when they're out, and you don't want to miss out. So be sure to call and make a reservation. You'll thank us later. Now, what do you say we get something to wash down this food with before we go to the track?
Hey you guys, welcome to Superior Bathhouse Brewing here in beautiful Hot Springs National Park, Arkansas. Here, come on in.
We didn't have to go too far to find a nice cold adult beverage. Superior Bathhouse Brewing is just about a mile away from DeLuca's on the main strip, Central Avenue. Owner Rose Schweikhart converted this old bathhouse into a brewery in 2013. Today she brews almost 20 different beers. If you want a porter, they got you. If you want something juicy or really hoppy, they got you too. The beer scene in Hot Springs is really booming right now, and one of their secrets to the success is using water from the hot springs. The water is low in minerals, has a neutral taste, and provides the perfect pH balance to brew any beer. The food here is pretty good too. Look at these pretzels. Their patio is a great spot to hang before or after a day of the track. For the second leg in our pick 3, we needed some coverage, so we landed on 2 A's.
So the real beer nerds love our hazy IPA. It's called Space Force. It's a blood orange infused hazy IPA. Really hoppy, really cloudy, and it's got a nice bite to it. And then our other crowd favorite is our lightest beer, which is our Spring Training. And that is your classic light blonde ale, and we use Czech hops. So it has that nice familiar, like kind of Pilsner flavor in a light, low, crispy, drinkable, smashable beer.
I took down both of these pints during our time at Superior, and they were tasty. You can't go wrong with either. One tidbit about the Spring Training beer is that it's almost 100 years old, and it pays homage to both Hot Springs baseball and Prohibition history. It's brewed from the same recipe that was used by gangster Oni Madden during Prohibition. He made a ton of money off this beer, and it makes sense because it's still really, really good. Very cool stuff. Now, let's go to the track. Oaklawn Park is a must-do for any horse racing fan. After spending a day there, what really jumped out to us is how intimate it is. You can get so close to all the action. Take a look at the small indoor paddock. You're right on top of things. You can hear the conversations trainers are having with the jockeys. Not very often do you get to see the all-time winningest trainer, this guy, discuss his plans for the race. You really can't beat it. If you can swing it, though, try to come on a day when the infield is open. It's a unique experience that only a handful of tracks can offer. Now on to the final leg of our pick 3, and we called in a ringer to help. Here's our buddy Alan with the best food at the track.
So you got 2 different ones. You got the corned beef sandwich just on the marble like rye bread, or you got my favorite. You've got the Reuben that's got the corned beef and the sauerkraut and the Thousand Island dressing that's toasted.
You got to take Alan's advice. He's been coming to Oaklawn for almost 30 years, and the Reuben is divine. On a busy day, they'll sell thousands of these. You pair that bad boy with a light beer, and you'll look just like a local. The best part is, it won't break the bank. This whole combo only costs about $20, and it'll fill you up for almost the whole day. So let's recap this ticket and its construction. In the first leg, go to DeLuca's. You can't go wrong with anything there, but don't leave without getting the burger. Don't forget to make a reservation because you don't want to get left out. You can thank us later. In the second leg, Superior Bathhouse Brewing. They have almost 24 beers, and they have something for every beer palate. We made 2 picks here, the Space Force Hazy IPA and the Spring Training Blonde Ale. Both are easy drinkers for those humid Arkansas days. And in the final leg, a Reuben and a light beer. When in Rome, don't overthink it. Do like the locals do. If you want to go deeper with us about our visit to Hot Springs, be sure to check out the podcast. We spend about a half an hour where we take a deeper dive into the restaurants, the sights, the scenes, everything Hot Springs had to offer. Also, we have really good conversations with our experts where we talk about racing and some of the other cool food and drinks that this place has to offer. All right, so a couple of things before we go. If you could do us a huge favor, rate, review, subscribe to our YouTube page. You can find the buttons right below the video here on your browser. The last thing is, if we forgot anything, is there something we should have done when we were in Hot Springs? Is there something we missed? If so, put it in the comments. Share it with the crew. We'd love to check out what you think we should be doing when we go to Hot Springs. Thanks for watching. More to come.